Yo, what's up? I'm your girl, Steph Jackson. Welcome to the Athlete Budget, the world's richest podcast powered by Ruby Financial, whose motto is simply leave wealthier. And as the title suggests, this podcast marries two of my favorite subjects, money and sports. Now, I'm sure you're wondering why we decided to go ahead and release this podcast when we did amidst international unrest and the pandemic and a lot of things that are going on in the world. But personally, it just breaks my heart to see athletes squandering money so terribly. I mean, not a knock on them because going from the 99% to the 1% in just the stroke of a pen, it's a lot on a person. And being an athlete comes with great influence. If you don't believe me, just go check out the player initiated video in support of the Black Lives Matter message. It moved the NFL to apologize. I mean, the NFL, a multi billion dollar corporation, to issue an apology and to backtrack on some of its stances. So, yeah, athletes are influential people. And with their influence comes a lot of responsibility, mainly monetary responsibility. And what greater influence in our world is there than economics? I mean, even the Bible says money answereth all things. Shout out to the King James Version. So, personally, the reason I started this is because my vision for professional athletes is that you would leave the league a million times richer than what you came into the league. And also, people say you play for that second contract, or that second contract is usually way more lucrative than the first one. And people tend to blow it on like private jets and all that other craziness. But my vision is for you to be richer even than you were on your second contract. You feel me? And for all my semi-pro folks and my high school and my college athletes, look, college athletes kind of getting the bone right now. They may be getting paid sooner than we think. But for my semi-pro athletes, my vision for you is that your dream is fully funded with either sponsorship or that you're making so much money based on your money moves that you ain't got to worry about paying to play. You feel me? And for my high school folks, listen, you're going to college, you keep grinding, you're going to get that job that's going to pay for your athletics and your training, because I know you're going hard right now trying to get that scholarship. And you ain't even got to worry about asking mommy, daddy, grandma, granddaddy, older brother, older sister, older cousin, whatever. You ain't got to worry about asking them for money. You feel me? So stick with me, all right? Let's get it. So let's hop off in here. So I'm usually a closed book unless I'm speaking like one-on-one with a young athlete, or a young person, just trying to spit some knowledge to them. But hey, I want to be as transparent as possible about me as an athlete as it pertains to my money struggles and some of the very stupid money decisions I made that led me to seeking a knowledge of money, try to get wisdom in that area. Because no matter how good of an athlete you are, I'm telling you, man, listen, you may have championships. You may be the top scorer. You feel me? You may be that QB1, number one, whatever you want to call it. But hey, life hit a little different when you got money in the bank and you financially secure. So all of us are not signing $1 million contracts. And even for the athletes who are signing $1 million contracts, life hit real different when you got to go home and your house getting and that mansion getting foreclosed on, and you got a game the next day. I know some athletes been there. I ain't gonna name no names. We know them too. But anyway, let's get off into my story. So picture it: New Orleans, Louisiana, 1988. The Lakers had just won an NBA championship, and boom, 1 month later, your girl popped out. Charity Hospital, aka the City Zoo. I'm kidding y'all. I'm not going back that far. Let's fast forward to high school. All right. All right. So, high school. I grew up in Greenville, Mississippi, in the Mississippi Delta, right there on the south end. Moved from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, a few years prior. Went through middle school in Greenville and high school. So check this out. No, I wasn't working as an athlete. The only thing I cared about was winning state. I didn't care about boyfriends. I didn't care about proms. I didn't care about none of that. I mean, I went to both proms to eat and I had a good time, but I just cared about winning. So my regimen in high school, I would get up about 4 some 5 a.m. Um, on some days I go to the levee with my granddad and my aunt Clara, and other days my mom would get up and do her thing, and we go to the YMCA, and I shoot about 1,000 shots. This was every morning, and so I did not have an income in high school. I wasn't working. The only thing I was doing was training, homework, and playing basketball. That was it. So that's high school, and by the way, we didn't win state, but we were the first team in Greenville Western history to go to the state tournament. I mean, we should definitely make a movie about that. You know what? I think I might. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. Shout out to you, Netflix. I'm looking at you. Anyway, so that was just from a monetary standpoint. Um, I didn't have a job. Although I tell you, look, high school athletes, get you a part-time job at the gym or at, I don't know, Walmart, GNC, somewhere where you can have access to either training or dietary supplements or something where you can get a discount and also make money so you can pay for stuff you really want to do. So there we go. That's me in high school. But we also, what's funny is that high school was the first time, this was probably 2005 when I found out about Under Armour, and it was just really kind of gaining traction. And Under Armour is really doing its thing, man. Under Armour is about hanging on by a thread right now. But in high school, it was like new and cool. And so, but the shirts were super expensive. So I like talked my grandmother into getting me my very first Under Armour um, compression top. That was like senior year. That sucker was like 20 some dollars. That was a lot for one piece of clothing. Matter of fact, I still got that top, y'all. I still got that top. Like, that's just crazy. So I really cherish it. But from a money standpoint, to my high school athletes, if I would have had a part-time job, I wouldn't have had to ask anybody to get me anything. I could have paid for my own training gear. You feel me? So high school, no job, no money, no income, just sports. That's probably a lot of high schoolers. And so I got a full scholarship to college. I remember I got some offers from like SWAC schools, and I did not want to go to SWAC. I was still in love with my hometown of Baton Rouge, even though I was in Mississippi. I knew that if I was going to any college, I was just crazy. I wanted to go to LSU. I did not care. I was getting there. That's back in the golden years of LSU basketball when they had Simone Augustus, Sylvia Fowles, and just that whole all-star team. And they was playing for like NCAA national championships back in that day. So I was like, yo, I'm going to LSU. I remember the night of my graduation, I didn't go and wild out. I didn't go drinking or whatever and just hit the strip with all the other graduates. I snuck to Baton Rouge. My mom caught us on the way out. She was pissed. Oh, she was pissed. But I went, and I went to go talk to the coaches at LSU. I wanted to see what it was about. I wanted to smell the court. I wanted all of it. And I remember the coach looking at me and saying, yo, she needs to bulk up. We need to put her on some type of plan. But that never happened, guys. God had a different plan, and so did my grandfather and my mother. So they tell me, they say, "Hey, let's go down to this school I had never heard of in my life." They were like, "Let's go down there and talk to the coaches." They came by the house. So they sent coaches by the house when I was down in Baton Rouge, trying to do my thing and get my own thing going on, because I got to get back home, Baton Rouge. I got to wear the purple and gold. So we go down to Tougaloo College, right? Go down to Tougaloo. We talk to the coaches. Little did I know this was a whole setup, y'all, like an entire setup. Talk to the coaches. They had already had my scholarship ready and waiting on me. And I always joke that we went to go talk to the coaches at Tougaloo, and 4 years later, they let me go home, right? So I ended up getting a full scholarship to Tougaloo. I never made it to LSU to play ball. I was enrolled in LSU, so that was the first college I was ever enrolled in. But I reported to Tougaloo while I was on campus, even though I was on a full scholarship. And obviously, there's a lot of controversy and there's a lot of laws being changed about paying student athletes. Even when you are on a full scholarship, that doesn't mean you have money to eat or extra pizza money or grocery money. And I was just blessed to have good parents and grandparents and a good village around me that would like drop off food to the dorm for me or make sure I had a little change in my pocket if I needed to, in case of an emergency, that sort of thing. So went through college. Did not have a job in college. I think that I had a little income coming in. I was in the science building and I did some research and got like $10 an hour or something like that. But I hated science and I wasn't really good. They'd make me sit in the lab, y'all, and separate tetrads. What is a tetrad? I'll tell you what a tetrad is, because that's the only thing I remember from this whole ordeal of science, and it is a cluster of cells. I would have to go into the microscope and separate them, y'all. Talk about just boredom. I was like, what in the world am I doing? So I quit. I was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. So besides that, I think my first refund actually came senior year. So I didn't know what to do with a refund, and people was balling out on campus, and I was like, yo, see, I had teammates who had cars. So, my saving grace was that I was one of the star members of the basketball team, and I was a freshman, and so they just really took good care of me. But I didn't have a car till like after college graduation. So I was basically an otherwise broke college student who was on a full scholarship at a private Christian institution. But hey, I was very resourceful. I can't remember being stranded or anything on campus. Like, I was always, like, if somebody was making a Walmart run, your girl was right there. Like, you feel me? So something crazy happened my last year of college. Did I forget to mention that I was a pretty arrogant athlete, borderline arrogant, okay? Look, you had to see it from my point of view. I was there to win. I feel like the coaching and administration that was there was not as dedicated to winning as I was. So I remember going into the AD's office and I was like, yo, it's me or the head coach. Like, you fire him. Either you fire him or I'm walking. What do you know? He did not fire the head coach. So I did not return for my senior year. It was a stupid, stupid, stupid decision. I regretted it when I made it. I really didn't have any mentorship. I didn't have any mentors to say, yo, you making a bad decision. It was me and my pride and my anger. And yo, I made that decision. So I lost my scholarship my last year. Had to end up going through financial aid, getting loans. And then I knew what a refund was, but that's probably not the way I wanted to know what a refund was. So graduated from Tougaloo College back in 2010. Shout out to the Eagle Queen. and I was just unleashed on the world. I did not want to go overseas and play in the WNBA, or I didn't want to go overseas and play ball. I didn't want to go to the WNBA. I remember I ran off to AmeriCorps, and I moved to Denver, Colorado. Shout out to AmeriCorps NCCC. That's love right there. And I didn't make a lot of money in AmeriCorps. Nobody goes to AmeriCorps to make money, right? So, but between the years of like 2010 and 2014, I played a lot of like rec basketball and in flag football leagues. And in 2014, I found the WFA, the Women's Football Alliance. So, that was my chance to get back into football. A sport that I love since I was a kid, y'all. Like, I grew up in the streets of Baton Rouge and the fields of the Mississippi Delta playing football. We played some basketball, but when that football came out, it was over for everybody. And we go down to the projects in New Orleans sometimes and play down there. But it was football for me. So late 2014, I made my first team down in Lafayette, Louisiana, with the Acadiana Zydeco. Shout out to the Zydeco fam. At the time, I was working for Under Armour. I was an associate store manager down at Under Armour near Jackson, Mississippi. And that was my only source of income, y'all. So, all right, let's look at this from a money standpoint, okay? So from a money standpoint, the only income I had coming in was my income from Under Armour. All right, let's say Under Armour, I make after taxes, if I just really bust my tail, I was probably making about $2,000 a month. Just probably somewhere around $2,000 a month. Crazy, y'all. Just crazy. So I made about $24,000 a year, maybe. It's probably a little bit more if I did, holidays and all that. But just let's say roughly $2,500 a month. So I was staying with myself at the time. Had bills. I had car note. I had an insurance, and now I have a increased gas bill because I was driving 12 hours a week. I mean, y'all, 3 hours there, 3 hours back. I do that about 2 or 3 days out of the week. So I'm driving like 12 to 15 hours a week, y'all, playing ball. So I had that pro level dedication, but I was making that semi-pro money, which is zero. Didn't have a sponsor at the time. I just knew I wanted to play ball. So that was going on from late 2014 all the way through to 2016. So 2016 was very special because we won the Division III National Championship up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So let's go through the money of that, though. Y'all, it's just crazy when I sit down and think about all the money I poured into sports and poured into football and poured into myself, and all the money that I did not get back from football. Anyway, so let's look at it. Let's go 2015, 2016, right? So 2015, I moved back to Baton Rouge. I'm enrolled in LSU for my MBA. And all of this, y'all, keep in mind, I only did all of this so I could get closer to my football team in Lafayette. You feel me? Like I was on some for the love of the game type of stuff. So it was much better to drive 45 minutes than to be driving 3 hours. So there we go. So I'm paying for my apartment right there in Tigerland. If any of you are parents and have kids who are going to LSU, don't let them live in Tigerland. I'm just going to say that. And if they have to live in Tigerland, don't live in Tiger Plaza. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, so I got that bill. I got a pretty sizable refund because I was a grad student and I was also working for Under Armour. So, I had some money coming in. Did I do right with my money? No. Just no. I ended up leaving the grad program, and I I had Under Armour money coming in. Then I ended up leaving Under Armour because it was I switched Under Armour stores. It was just crazy, y'all. Anyway, just for money's sake, just know I no longer had that Under Armour income coming in. I was living strictly off student refunds, school refunds. So this is what I did, y'all. I wrote a check early on before I stopped my Under Armour joint. I wrote a check for an rent for the entire year. Went ahead and wrote it. Boom, I ain't got to worry about that no more. So I paid them while I had the money too. So from 2015 to like 2016, y'all, I was hustling. I went vegetarian. I went vegetarian because it was cheaper. I get my produce down on Perkins at Southside Produce, where I could make groceries for like $21 a week, y'all. I What did I do? I sold my couch. I sold I sold I sold all the furniture in the apartment. Yep. I was sleeping on the floor. Okay. I sold all the furniture. I was sleeping on the floor. I ended up what I shouldn't have done. Y'all, I ended up selling my MacBook. I should have just kept my MacBook. But anyway, I got a new one. So I sold everything, yo. And and yo, I had the greatest football season of my life. I mean, I played wide receiver, y'all. I was averaging over 100 yards a game, at least 2 touchdowns a game. And I mean, just killing it. I was killing it on the field, but off the field, y'all, I was sleeping on the floor. I was barely eating if it wasn't for like my godparents right there in Denham Springs. Your girl would have been AOL. I mean, just great sacrifices. I felt like it was worth it because in the end, we went to Pittsburgh, which I spent some of my last money on a Spirit Airlines ticket. Let me just tell y'all, no matter how bad life gets, don't fly Spirit. Okay? You heard it here. Do not fly Spirit. Leave Spirit alone. I could hear the plane, like I could hear the wings flapping in the wind. You, it was terrible. But yo, that's what you do as a semi pro athlete with a professional work ethic, not getting paid any professional money. I know if you're listening to this and you're a semi pro athlete, you already know. The only bad part about it was that, yo, I was playing in the sport at the highest level of the sport, y'all, not getting paid anything, which we are working to change now, thank God. But look, I got in at the beginning and you get what you got. So 2014, 2015, your girl is broke. Broke. Still doing my thing on the field, but broke. Just, just. Then you have team dues, yo. Team dues. I was in a really small market, but still, team dues, $250, $500. Some teams, $1,200. I mean, yo, I gotta pay you to play, so I'm in a pay to play situation in a sport that I freaking love. But you know, they wasn't paying your girl nothing, and I was just out here hustling, just hustling. Honestly, I would not advise that life. This is this is why I had to learn about money and how money works and how to get money. More importantly, it's not about just getting money; it's about keeping money and growing money. So 2015, 2016, Brizoke broke. So August 2016, I enroll in law school. I get a full scholarship. Well, early on, I just got a partial scholarship, but then at the end of my first year, I was number two in the class. So they gave me a full scholarship. All right. It pays to learn a system and do really well in the system. That's what law school is. That's what school is, y'all. I don't really care. Just learn a system, get in there and do it and beast it. Okay. So anyway, 2016 August, hey girl, I'm in there. I gotta now, as far as income goes, can I work? No, because I'm in law school now. And they don't allow you to work your first year. Some people snuck and work, but I was a spaz. I was like, yo, how do you work and still do this law school joint? So I didn't work. I wasn't about to sneak and work either, because I was spending like 12 to 15 hours a day in the library. So I didn't even have time. And on top of that, my grandparents moved in with us, and I was a primary caregiver for them. Y'all, if I could pile on, just pile on all the stress, 2016, 2017, that was me. So, so I'm living off of I'm living off of student loan refunds. I'm no longer playing football. At least that's what I said. I remember making this long, dramatic Facebook post about I'm done and I'm going to law school. Quite honestly, I should have just stayed out of football, but I didn't, because that's what we do. So yo, all right, here we go. Beginning of 2017, y'all, we have this. We had this international football camp for women called the Women's World Football Games, sponsored by USA Football. So 2017, we had that down at Disney Worldwide, ESPN Worldwide Sports, and then for that was the year for Team USA tryouts, right? So I'm like, yo, I am not missing this. I want to play for my country. I want that American flag wrapped around me. I'm about to go there and kill everybody. That was my thing. I'm gonna go kill everybody. So we had the Team USA tryouts, and then we turned around and had the Women's World Football Games. So that was like 10 days straight of nothing but football. So from a money standpoint, let's keep that money at the forefront, right? So from a money standpoint, I am now taking that student loan refund check and trying to make it stretch. So there are deadlines to get your rooms. Yeah, and Disney is not cheap. If anybody's wondering, Disney ain't cheap. That joint hit me for like 3,000. I was out like $3,000 easy. I'm talking about room, the meal plan while you at the room, Team USA registration, flights, team, what is it? Women's World Football Games registration and swag packs and all that. So yo, your girl's out $3,000. $3,000. I'm out 3,000. I gotta keep saying that because yeah, I'm out $3,000. Yeah. So I was bleeding money. I had more money leaving than I had coming in. But on the field, y'all, I am killing it. Like, I ended up making Team USA, and tragically, my grandmother passed. What's crazy is that, y'all, I didn't even know I made the team. I had a friend from France text me on WhatsApp and say, "Hey, congratulations!" And I'm like, "Congratulations for what? My grandmother just passed. Like, my whole world is shattered right now. What are you talking about?" So she sent me the roster, and my name was on it. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I made the team." It seemed like such a small accomplishment in comparison to what I was dealing with. So there's that. That's money. And just keep in mind my financial situation. All money bleeding out, no money coming in. That's what it is. So that spring, after my first year, I was blessed enough to get a job with a clerkship, which is huge, y'all, with the law firm. Made about 1,200 a week doing that. I think that was like 6 weeks or so, something like that. 1,200 a week, and then the Minnesota Vikings called, and I went there to Minnesota, and I was like one of their first front office interns. I was with the executive suite, and they let me hang out at training camp and be a scout. So it's the NFL, yo. They make about 13 billion a year. But if you're coming in as an intern, you're gonna make like $10 an hour. Believe that. Maybe 10. Was it 10? 10, yeah, about $10 an hour. So look, listen, we talk about the money deal, right? So that's 1,200 a week for about 6 weeks in the summer, and then $10 an hour. My paychecks are probably like $400, $500, something like that. Yeah, something like that, y'all. So what would have been the best thing for me to do, y'all? save that money, right? Save that money, invest it, do all this good stuff. Did I do that? Nope. No, I didn't. I didn't. Oh, and by the way, I didn't tell you guys that earlier that year in 2017, after my grandmother passed and everything, I, in that spring, I had gotten talked into coming back into women's football and to play for the team in DC. So okay, y'all. DC is nowhere near Jackson, Mississippi. The only way you get into DC in any decent amount of time is flying. Remember I told y'all I don't ever fly Spirit? Well, every Friday I hopped on a Spirit flight from New Orleans, Louisiana to Washington, D.C. Okay? The team was not paying for any of my flights. Matter of fact, they weren't paying for anything. As a matter of fact, just to keep going, they made me pay full team fees, which was much more than my Zydeco team fees at $250. So I got flights out. I'm flying out every week. So I had a property class every Friday, y'all. I'm flying out after property class, or sometimes I'm WebExing my property and other classes in airports. At one point, I was on the football field with WebEx. WebEx. I've WebExed in some crazy places, y'all. So it was just, I was making my life way more complicated than any athlete's life, any human's life should ever be made, between law school, taking care of my grandparents, trying to play football still, getting on flights every week that I am paying for. Yeah, it got real complicated. And from a money standpoint, it was the dumbest money decisions your girl could have made. All right. I'm saying this because maybe somebody who's also a semi pro athlete is also making some of those same decisions. I'm not saying don't do it for the love of the game. What I'm saying is, from a monetary standpoint, set yourself up for success. Get a sponsor, plan it out better than I did, save up money better than I did. Okay. That's all I'm saying. I ain't crapping on your love for the game, but I'm letting you know what I did was so stupid, with the capital S, stupid. Okay? All right, so where we at? 2017, get back from 2017. I'm like, yo, I'm really done with this whole football joint. I'm not doing it. I returned to school after my stint with the Vikings. You know what I'm saying? I mean, things are going really well in a very public way for me. But privately, I was still broke. Privately, I was making really bad money decisions. Um, Privately, I was dealing with loss. And then November, my best friend in the whole world, my granddad, passed. So what did I do, y'all? Okay, what did I do? As if I wasn't already making really bad money decisions, I went out and spent $5,000 on a truck. Okay, y'all, a truck that was a lemon. Like, it looked really good on the outside and stuff, but I got taken to the bank on that one. I had to bite that one. I couldn't even be mad at the person who gypped me. Like, did I can't even. It was bad. It was real bad. It was real bad. And I was also like taking trips down into the city. When I say the city, I'm talking about New Orleans. Going down there, flying people in. It was just bad. I mean, y'all, I would blame that on grief and emotions and all that good stuff. But let's just face it, y'all. I was making bad money decisions before. You feel me? So there you go. 2017 ended the way it started, with some bad money decisions. 2018, I went back to the Women's World Football Games. I also attended the forum, the Careers in Football forum down at ESPN. So I want to say I shelled out more money, but it wasn't $3,000, y'all. So That's more money coming in into it, more money going out to the sport that I love, no money coming in to me. Okay, y'all see a pattern here? Steph gives money, Steph don't get money, is what's happening here. So 2018, I did not have a football season. I may have flown to DC once, I think, during spring break. And then I just let it go. I was like, just stop it. Just stop it. Okay. So none of my money went to sports that year. What else happened, y'all? 2018, man. None of my money went to sports, but I went back to the law firm that summer. Got that $1,200 got that $1,200 a week. Then I went to the New York Jets and got paid. Got paid with the Jets to scout with them for their preseason and training camp, which was an awesome experience. But from a money standpoint, it was still, it was still good because we were doing like 12-hour days. Some days was 15 hours. So you was making decent money, even though it was like $10 an hour. You feel me? So $10 an hour, plus the $1,200 a week that I was getting with the law firm for like 6 weeks again. And then there's this matter of my red Mustang, y'all. Okay, let's talk about my red Mustang. So I got a red Mustang in 2014. My granddad was helping me pay for it when I got into law school. And then he, unbeknownst to us, he had dementia, sadly. And I remember he kept saying, I paid your car off. I don't know why you keep, asking and calling and all that good stuff. And I remember him saying, I paid your car off, all that good stuff. Well, I got a letter from Ford Motor Company. And this is not his fault. I just want to say that it is all my fault. My car, my responsibility, right? So I got a letter from Ford Motor Co. They said, hey, you hadn't paid us. So at that moment in time, when they were like, we need this amount of money, I didn't have that amount of money, y'all. So what I did was I turned that car in and I said, I will pay the difference of whatever you can get at auction for this car. Should not have done that. I should have done that. Okay. That was another very bad financial decision. As a matter of fact, when I did that, Ford had sold that car so fast. She was a really good car. I miss her. Oh, Grace, I miss her. Anyway, so Ford had sold that car, and I think I owed him about $3,000 or so, $3,500, something like that. But I was gone. I think I was going to Minnesota, and then when I came back, it may have been like late September or something. Long story short, the correspondence from the time of me receiving correspondence and contacting them, it was too late. Okay. I drug my feet on it, and I had been gone for months. So I wasn't home to get the mail. And no excuses, y'all. I should have taken care of business. So and I was kind of arrogant about it, okay? So it ended up, long story short, I don't need to give you all the details, but I got sued for the remaining amount. So instead of paying $3,500, I had to use money I had gotten for this diversity scholarship, which was $5,000, and I had to pay the law firm that sued, that commenced the action. I had to pay them about $4,500. Yeah, it was about $4,500. Like, I had to pay $1,000 more. Plus, my name was a party in the lawsuit. I was a defendant. You guys, these are some really, really, really bad financial decisions that I made, coupled with sports. And honestly, if you are listening to this, if you are an athlete listening to this, I guarantee you make more than I have ever made in sports. Okay? You make more as an athlete than I make in sports. But my money woes were completely avoidable, and I could have made much better decisions, but I didn't. And so let's fast forward to 2019, right? So 2019, I'm like, well, 2018, I was I was in New York for about half the year between the Jets and then other work I had been doing in the city. So I come back home 2019. I'm like, there's this we got a new women's football league, super legit, kicking off, powered by Adidas and Rydell and some other big hitters, the Women's National Football Conference. So I remember texting the owner slash head coach of the team in Texas, right there in Dallas, and I was like, "Hey, I'm in. Like, let's go." She had been trying to get me to play for her. This was like some seasons ago when we first met, and so I'm like, "Yo, let's go. I will. I want to play in Texas, with the team." And so, ding, 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 I am back in football just like that. And how much was my football salary? It was the same as when I left. $0. $0. Okay? $0. Nilch, nothing. All right, guys. So I wish I could tell you that this story was any different from it was back in 2017 when I tried to come back, but it's not. Actually, it's a little different because it involves injury. So, which is actually more money out of my pocket. Okay. So each week, we had training camp in February. So I flew out for that. That's round trip, maybe $300, 200, two something maybe. So, all right. Well, first of all, I was told that my travel would be paid for this time, but that was not true. So I didn't make a big fuss about it. So I was like, okay, I can budget some money out. I say that, but quite honestly, my budget went like this. How much money is in my account? 500. Oh, I can afford a $250 plane ticket. That's how my budgeting went. Okay, y'all? Don't be fooled by the word budget. I had no budget. So I'm shelling out money every week. Either I'm driving or flying over into Dallas every week during the season. Um, Only to get hurt my very first play of the game, my very first play of the season. I was hit from behind by a teammate, which I think she scored on it. So shout out to you. But anyway, I was blocking for my running back. I hit the safety, and my teammate, my running back, who is a very solid woman, big and solid. I mean, she's healthy and solid, not fat or anything, but just healthy and solid. She drug two defenders over the top of me. I remember trying to get back up, and I'm laughing at the defenders, and I'm about to talk some cash money. But I got back up, and something was missing in the bottom of my leg, and I did not know what it was. Turns out I had torn ligaments in my ankle. Okay? So now I didn't believe that anything was wrong, so I went back out for another play, and boom, heard a pop. And then I was like, nah, I looked up, and it was kind of like on some Inky Johnson stuff where I was like, yo, God. I looked up, I was like, yo, God, surely nothing has happened um, in this moment that could alter, my season or my playing career, right? I was wrong, okay? Had torn multiple ligaments in my ankle. Uh, and if that wasn't bad enough, it cost me a lot of money. I did not have the proper insurance to pay for that. You might be saying, "Oh, you were playing football. Surely they insured." No, I didn't have the proper insurance. Okay, student insurance or whatever, all this other rinky-dink insurance was not built for athletes. Okay, so if you're an athlete, I'm telling you right now, get you some health insurance. Get you some really good health insurance. Spend that money. If you are a semi-pro athlete, and if you're a pro athlete, or a collegiate athlete or a high school athlete, that is already taken care of. You feel me? So make sure. But for my semi-pro folks, budget that money, get you some real good health insurance because that injury costs your girl upwards of $1,000. That injury in my money. That injury costs over $1,000 in my own money. All right. Not to mention the the tears and frustration that came out of it. So I wanted to be a good teammate even after the injury. So I was still like coming to some home games or whatever. I shouldn't have been, but the person that I am, I value loyalty and I value support. And so honestly, it was not the right decision. I'm just gonna say that. It wasn't the right decision. I should have stayed home and rehab more and just focus on school. Like one of my professors told me, well, now you can focus on finals because finals are coming up. I didn't care about finals, y'all. Not even a little bit, man. I was just bummed about football, bummed about the fact that I spend so much freaking money. But I wasn't tripping. I learned a lot of lessons, and not just from football, but I got almost about 20 good years of financial lessons that I got stored up in me, and I'm so excited to bring to you guys. So that is just a quick rundown of my story as an athlete and just how I've mismanaged money. I won't even call it money management. I call it having money in my account and just using it however I saw fit. I didn't even have a plan, y'all. But listen, since the 2019 season, which is my last official season, I have built a couple of businesses and I've been doing well. And I'm just extremely excited to give whatever knowledge I got to you guys so y'all can thrive, not just professional athletes or semi-pro athletes, but just anybody. I mean, financial principles do not care who worked them. You feel me? So that is a little bit about my story. I hope you guys got something from that. And before we close out, I will be remiss to not mention our partners and our affiliates who made this podcast possible and who helped me both as an athlete and a businesswoman. And I truly believe, look, check this out. I don't affiliate myself with just anybody. I got to make sure that either the product or the service works for me, and then I give it to you guys. So I'm only rocking with like 3 affiliates. You feel me? Small circle. So shout out to Jamal King and Make Real Estate Real. Shout out to Shaklee, the #1 natural nutrition company in the world. Our BRB, so y'all can hear more about these amazing companies. Listen, while sports or what have you may be your vehicle, you need passive income in order to create generational wealth, or that mailbox money. That money you make in your sleep, as they call it. In my opinion, the very best way to do that is through real estate investing. For those of you looking for ways to invest in positive cash flow and properties without the pitfalls and risks, wanting to use the power of real estate to cover your dream lifestyle, if you want to get your time back for your family or desire to create passive income each month, then it's time for your money to work for you. Jamal King, aka the 9 to 5 Millionaire, has put together a free training presentation that will change the way you think about money and real estate investing. His story is crazy, man. I don't know any millionaires who would keep their 9 to 5 for 20 years and retire from it, all while they're sitting on multi-millions and numerous businesses. Personally, I've gone through his course and I'm geared up for very aggressive property purchasing this year. Now I'm excited to say that my parents are going through Mal's course and will soon have their real estate business jumping off. So if you're on YouTube, click the link below and take advantage of the free presentation and get a huge discount on the actual all-inclusive course. Let's get it, y'all. Look, I know y'all have heard this before. Health is wealth. And that is so true, y'all. As an athlete, I'm picky about what products I trust with my body. I was doing the mainstream hydration and the proteins and the pre-workout and all that good stuff, but I felt heavy, yo. And I made a mistake one day of turning them products around and looking at the ingredients. So for a while, I stopped taking everything. But now, I'm fueled by Shaklee, the #1 natural nutrition company in the world. world, Craig, in the world. The company conducts over 100,000 quality tests per year to make sure their products are safe, and was the first company in the world to be certified climate neutral for all my global warming enthusiasts out there. So whether you're looking for weight loss, athletic performance, or just a healthier lifestyle, Shaklee has 100% guarantee on all its products. They fuel world-class athletes with a combined 146 Olympic medals, astronauts, and millions of everyday people looking to lose weight or live a healthy life. So check this out. Click the link below to jumpstart your weight loss with Shaklee's famous Prove It Challenge, which comes with not only a discount, you're welcome, but also free preferred membership. And don't worry about my athletes, I got y'all covered. There's also a link to Shaklee's Performance Pack, which allows you to energize, hydrate, build muscle, and recover. But check this out, it's all clean. And yo, that protein tastes good, I ain't gonna lie to you. So no more cancer-causing ingredients for the sake of performance. So go ahead and rock with Shaklee, y'all, and see the Shaklee difference. Let's go. Yeah. So big shouts to our partners, affiliates, sponsors. Look, that's all we got this week. This wraps up our very first episode, one of many. Yo, stay tuned next week. Look, if you are trying to go to the NFL one day or are currently in the NFL and are a rookie, you definitely not going to want to miss next week's episode. I got a very special guest for you, a good friend of mine. Won't tell you who it is till later. But hey, meet me same time, same place next week. Until then, God bless, be safe. Peace.